This is a rifle that I've been building. I build rifles, in some instances, from a blank piece of wood. About 2.5 inches thick. I machine the blank. I machine the blank reasonably close to accept the barreled action. This barreled action's been fitted into this piece of wood. It's been bedded into this piece of wood. The bottom metal has been unleaded and bedded into this piece of wood, free of any kind of gaps anywhere between the wood and the metal. This is an FN Mauser. This is a 257 Roberts. Start off as I say, this was a very thick, 2.5 inch thick blank piece of wood. Since I've inletted this into the wood, I've taken this and laid it out, drawn lines on the piece of wood, taken it to the bandsaw, and sawed the excess amount of wood off on each side of the forend. I've done the same thing here in the grip area. I've taken it to the milling machine, to the bandsaw. I've sawed the excess amounts of wood off of this stock. This is going to have a high comb for a particular application. It's going to have a cheek piece, and from what I've described here, that I basically, hogged some of this wood away, I'm going to show you what it takes to some extent here to be able to finish shaping this stock. This is done with chisels, with a rawhide mallet, and with rasps. Heavy, fast cutting, sharp rasps. Right now, I'm going to use a handsaw. I'm going to take this handsaw. We need to remove wood. Taking this handsaw, and I'm sawing about every 1/2 inch here. This is going to end up being radiused, of course, the top of this comb. So I have to take this saw and saw notches in the wood here so that I can remove the excess amount of wood reasonably quickly from this stock. You'll see here shortly why I'm doing this and how it applies to removing the wood from the stock. Okay. Chisel and a rawhide mallet. I'm chiseling this wood away. I've got in my mind's eye exactly what this is supposed to turn out like, how it's supposed to be shaped, and I know from experience how much to take off. This is how it's done by the gun maker. I'm the gun maker. To make a custom rifle. That's what has to be done. Move some wood there. Now we're going to switch to the other side. We're going to do the same sort of thing. again. Paying attention to how this wood wants to come off of here so we don't make a mistake. Got more wood off of here. Might give us the proper shape. I first learned how to do this when I was 15 years old. My granddad showed me how to do this. He'd build a few rifles for himself. He was very capable. I'm chiseling wood away here to form the cheek piece around the high comb of this stock. Using a round gauge to go around the cheek piece. You simply start chiseling wood away that doesn't belong. You get it all chiseled away, eventually you'll have a completed rifle stock. Grain is nice and straight in this piece of curly maple. This piece of wood is working out considerably well, responding well to the chisel work, removing material. See, our cheek piece is taking considerable shape. A lot of wood has to be removed. There's Pair of leather gloves laying right there. Now we're going to switch from the chisel to a rasp. You can see at this point that this is really taking shape. I've carved a lot of wood off of here with these chisels and this rasp. This is how the whole entire project has to go. You just basically, I've got in my mind's eye exactly what I have to do, know from experience, and I just simply take all the wood off of here that doesn't belong, and we end up with a finished stock. You see, I've got this cheek piece reasonably shaped. I've got to go somewhat further. I've started shaping the grip here. I've got to do the same thing, round off the top of the grip, and the same things have to be done to the other side. I've got lines drawn on here. Take my saw and saw in there every little bit like I did and split this wood off here, and just keep working at this the same way. The sides of this stock have been sanded the same on each side. I'll start on the bottom, with this rasp, and I'll rasp this off at a 45 here on this side and that side. And then I'll just gradually start rounding it. Start forming it into a round, just like I started forming that grip into a round with my rasp. Just keep taking wood off, and I'll do the same thing up here. You see, by that point in time, I'll had to pull the barrel action out so I won't nick it with a rasp. Take all this material off of here. You just keep working at it and working at it. Basically, if I stayed at this, I'd have this entire stock shaped in about 5 hours by hand. I was told that I was the fastest one, when I was in gun making school, 69, 70, 71 in Trinidad, Colorado. I could shape one of these stocks quicker than anybody there. Well, part of it was that I'd done some of this before I ever went there, with a little guidance from my granddad and so forth. But anyway, I've been making stocks from a blank since I was about 15 years old, and that's what I prefer to do when I build a custom wood stock rifle. And we could continue working on this and working on it, but I think that what I've described here, you pretty much got the idea. This has got to be considerably rounded off and everything brought into proper form for completed rifle stock. So that gives you an idea of what the gun maker has to do to make that rifle, and the time some of the time that's involved. Once you get this all shaped, then you got to start sanding it with 60 grit paper, get all those rasp and file marks sanded out, and just gradually work down to about 320, 400 grit paper, and anyway, maybe at another point we'll get to the spot where the stock is considerably more shaped and finished, and I can describe a few of the things that I do to finish a stock. But I think that anybody watching pretty much, I think, should have the general idea of what we have to go through, what we do to build a rifle stock from a blank.